Sometimes you meet someone who just seems to have it all together, and don't you say, I don't get it. How do they do that? Well, the author of the bestseller called Boundaries noticed that successful people had some things in common, the way they handled life. Dr. Henry Cloud has written about 9 things you simply must do to succeed in love and life. We need to hear these. Dr. Cloud, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, good to be here.
You call them déjà vu people. What are déjà vu people?
Well, it started with an experience I had in just working with a lot of leaders and high-performance people. I'm sitting in a meeting one day, and I see a guy handle a situation, and I thought, I know him from somewhere. And it was sort of like, it was a déjà vu feeling. And so I couldn't remember where. A week later, same thing happened, and I thought, wait a minute, I don't know these people from anywhere. It's what they did. I've seen that before in highly successful people.
So it wasn't necessarily the same background, the same education?
Totally different people, totally different walks of life. I just started to watch them, and over about 10 years, this is what I did, highly successful people, high performers, both in relationships as well as in work. I watched them, I wrote down what they did, and after about 10 years, I unpiled it and came up with 9.
All right, I picked several principles. You have 9 things that we simply must do. I picked what I thought were the hardest for women, at least the hardest for me. Dig it up.
Dig it up.
Dig it up. What do you mean?
I told a group one time, this is an amazing, amazing building we're in. Where did this come from? It came from the heart and soul of about an 18-month-old child. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense at first, but when you think about it, many years ago, a toddler crawled across the den floor, picked up some blocks, stacked them, and something came alive inside of her. And that was a talent. And then her parents clapped, and she got excited, and then she gravitated towards art, and they clapped and praised her, and they disciplined her and made her do her homework, and she became an architect. And that's where that dream fully met the outside world. But there's another little girl who stacked those blocks, and maybe the alcoholic father or somebody came in and said, what are you doing in here? And you're making a mess, and go up to your room. And then she was criticized in school, and that dream and that talent got buried. And it's still there as an adult. And what successful people do is they don't let their dreams and their passions, like the parable of the talent says, stay buried. They dig them up, and they let them find the light of day. And a lot of times they dig up a lot of fear and trepidation with it, but you have to do that.
That's really tough, I think, for women nowadays. Dig up what?
That's a key problem, is that sometimes people have been so either controlled or beaten down or whatever it is, that they really have lost touch with what they would like to do, what they were made to do, what they're talented and able to do. And a lot of people have to get pushed to take the risk to start something new.
So you say find what's really our true heart's desire. Number 1, principle number 1.
Dig it up.
Number 2, pull the tooth, which is very hard. I think women, what you mean, if there's something bad, get rid of it.
If you watch really successful people, both in their relationships and in life, they don't allow what I call negative energy drains to just sit there and continue to zap them and to drain them. They get very active about moving to do something about it. What successful people do is they pull the tooth, they solve the problem.
This might go into another principle I want to talk about, act like an ant. What does that mean?
When Bill Gates built Microsoft, he didn't go build Microsoft. He wrote one line of computer code at a time. You can accomplish a lot more than you think you can if you don't think you have to go accomplish it. What you have to do is you have to take the steps.
Like weight loss, for example.
Weight loss is a great example. Nobody ever went and lost 50 pounds. That's not what you do.
1 pound at a time.
1 pound at a time. And not only that, what are the grains of sand? Tomorrow or today, you go take a 45-minute brisk walk, and at the next meal, you cut your portions in half. That's 1 grain. The next day you do the same thing. The next day you do the same thing. It becomes a lifestyle, and you'll keep it off.
I'm going to skip ahead to principle 7, because this is really, really tough for women, especially for parents. Don't play fair.
If you want a formula to ruin every relationship in your life, play fair. And what I mean by don't play fair is, and this is what successful people do, when somebody doesn't come through on their side of the equation or they don't treat them well, what the person that doesn't play fair does is gives back not what they received, but they give back better than they received. In one sense, to confront someone and say, look, you know, what you're doing in our relationship is not good. You know, it's not helpful. It doesn't make me closer to you for you to make fun of me or put me down. And I want better than that in our relationship. Now, that's a boundary, but that's grace.
All right, we hit a few of the 9 things you simply must do, but there are more.
There are more.
And to find out more, you have to buy the book, 9 Things You Simply Must Do to Succeed in Love and Life. Dr. Henry Cloud, such a pleasure.
It's good to be here.
Thanks
for
you.
having me.